Hey, Steven here with Armed Culture, coming to you with another self-defense related shooting news. I wanted to bring these stories to you because oftentimes they're forgotten about in the media. They're often also fairly short, um, not leaving much to detail. This one's a little longer. I was able to find something that had a little bit more to it. Um, that being said, oftentimes these stories are either originally released as sounding something tragic and then later um, moved on to a self-defense one. This one does have an update. We have one dead on a Friday night shooting. This happened in Roswell on January 11th, Friday. A man was fatally wounded Friday night in a shooting in Roswell. Police believe the incident was an act of self-defense. The Roswell Police Department investigation is ongoing, but at this time the investigators believe the shot was that killed the man was fired in self-defense by the surviving man, who called 911 and reported the incident. The press release issued on Roswell by Roswell Police Department Saturday afternoon stated, Alvin Cedillo, age 27, was found unresponsive with multiple gunshot wounds inside of the 1500 block of Manhattan or Montana Avenue. Police were called shortly after 9:30 p.m. Police stated in a press release that medics administered aid to Cedillo, who was unfortunately pronounced dead. The house where Cedillo died is believed to be that of the shooter, a 30-year-old man who had also sustained gunshot wound. He was later transported to the hospital and treated for the injury believed to be non-life-threatening. On Saturday, the RPD had not filed any charges against the surviving man, according to the press release. Initial findings in the investigation had led authorities to believe that both men were armed, consuming alcohol, and where the 20-year-old woman in the house was, where the shooting also occurred. The press release stated that police believed that at the time Cedillo left the house, but later returned and became aggressive. Then he produced a gun and demanded that the other man and the woman surrender their phones and items to him and drive him to another location. He also instructed the other man to give him his gun. So we'll pause here real quick. So these three people were at one point all together in the same house, it seemed, enjoying the day, consuming alcohol, having a good time. Cedillo, the man who is no longer with us, he left, came back with a gun. He then asked the people who he had just been hanging out with to give them their cell phones, personal belongings, and then also the gun from the man, and then asked him to go to an alternate location. I've often heard anytime anybody asks you to go to an alternate location, it's not because anything good is going to happen. That alternate location is usually used as like a safe point or an out of view area to finish any things that people are wanting to do to you. So that's where I think this man made the right decision. When the man refused to give up his gun, Cedillo shot him. The other men then used his own gun to shoot back at Cedillo multiple times, and the woman who was with him was not injured. Both the shooter and the man, both the shooter and the woman waited outside the house for the police to arrive. According to the press release, the RPD and their investigation also into the incident, they will send their findings directly to the attorney office, who will decide whether or not criminal charges will be brought against the surviving man. So currently it's being looked at as a self-defense. He has some minor injuries. She's completely unharmed. And the man that came back, fortunately, is not here. But that's where this particular phrase here kind of comes into mind for me. He wanted to drive them to a different location, or he wanted them to drive him to a different location after he's already stripped them of their personal items, their phone, and then also trying to strip them of their defense. So the homeowner, protecting his lady, his home, and himself, fired back. I mean, he was already shot because he refused to give up the gun, so there's that. But he's also fearing for his life because he's being told that he's going to be taken to a different area, I imagine, where who knows what this man would have done to either of them at this third or the secondary location. Sorry. That being said, this here does really kind of point out a few things. Okay, so these people knew each other previous to this incident. They had literally just been hanging out, had just been drinking together. Who knows what happened during that time that they were together? Maybe an altercation or an argument arose, or a disagreement. But these people knew each other, so I imagine the homeowner didn't necessarily think anything was going to come of his, what I could only assume is a friend, leaving the house, and then for whatever reason he came back. I'm sure that threw them off. But these people were literally just hanging out earlier in the day, and then he came back and threatened them, or at least to rob them and then take them to a secondary location. Again, who knows what would have happened at that secondary location. But these people were just together. Again, they were consuming alcohol, so who knows the state that Cedillo was in. He could have been intoxicated himself still at that time. But that's neither here nor there as far as the self-defense goes for the gentleman who shot back. But that does definitely lead to knowledge of an impairment on the person threatening action and asking them to move them to a secondary location. So in life, sometimes you're with people who may or may not have your best intentions with you, and you just don't even know it. So this man, they were assumingly friends, and then all of a sudden, now one of them is no longer with us because he decided to make decisions that weren't necessarily the best. Get in the comments, let me know what you think of this. Do you think this was a good shoot? Do you think this man acted well in defense of his family? Or do you think otherwise? Let me know what your thoughts are on it. If you could also hit that like button, that would really help me out if you found value in this video. If you want to hear more news related to the Second Amendment and those little stories about self-defense that are often swept under the rug, I'd love to bring those more to you. Subscribe to Armed Culture. I'll talk to you soon. My name's Steven with Armed Culture.